you go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the July 24th, 2023 meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District Board of Directors. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Budge?
Here.
Director Daniels?
Here.
Director Hume?
Here.
Director Jennings? Director Kozlowski?
Here.
Director Laloe?
Here.
Director Maple?
Here.
Director Cerna?
Here.
Director Singalen?
Here.
Director Valenzuela?
Here.
And Chair Kennedy.
Here.
With that, we have a quorum at 10 votes. And this meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District will cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Thursday, July 27th at 12 p.m. and Saturday, July 29th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Did you want to read the statement for the for the live stream information? At the top, it's...
There we go. Do you have it? Because,
I do.
okay, that'd be great.
Yep. Okay, so welcome to the July 24, 2023 meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit Board of Directors. This is a hybrid meeting, meaning members of the public can participate in the meeting either in person or virtually. The meeting is being live streamed, and the slide on the screen shows the information on how to join the webinar via Zoom. You can also call into the meeting at 253-215-8782, and the webinar access code is 837-9338-8162.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. That takes us to our consent calendar. Is there any member of the board that has any questions or comments on consent?
Chair, I do have a question about item 2.2, if I may.
Director Hume.
Thank you. I was just curious if we have a timeline as far as declaring it surplus and then moving into property negotiations with potential buyers.
Want me to take that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have a subcommittee, real estate subcommittee, which if you want to, you know, throw
Sorry,
yourself
let me
into.
move just out of your sight here.
There are negotiations that have already commenced with a large healthcare industry
Okay.
member.
Okay.
But those are very preliminary at this point. But yes, those
So
discussions
this
are
is
ongoing.
just the first official step in the process from our end.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? All right, is there any member of the public that would like to address the board at this time on anything on consent? All right, please call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, there's no motion.
I'll move
Sure, I'll move
consent.
Second.
I'll second it.
All right.
I'm sorry, who moved?
Who knows?
We have
Kozlowski
Hume
has
and
his-
Laloe.
Hume and Laloe?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Director Budge?
Yes.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Hume?
Aye.
Director Jennings?
Yes.
Director Kozlowski?
Yes.
Director Laloe?
Aye.
Director Maple?
Aye.
Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Singalen?
Aye.
Director Valenzuela?
Yes.
And Chair Kennedy.
Aye.
The consent calendar passes with 11 votes.
Okay, next item, please, Madam Clerk.
The next item is public addresses the board on matters not on the agenda, and I'll go ahead and read the public comment statement. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker card located at the rear of the room and provide it to myself or Adam. Once the item has been called, additional speaker cards will not be accepted. Individuals will have 3 minutes to address the board. The timer will chime when you have 30 seconds remaining, and then again when your time is up. Public comment will be taken first from those in the boardroom and then from those joining us by phone or Zoom. If you're participating by phone, please push the *9 to indicate a desire to comment. If you're joining us through Zoom, please push the raise hand button. Be sure to unmute yourself when it is your turn to speak and voluntarily state your name for the record.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and I have a card from Lauren Palmer.
Hello.
Welcome.
I just came tonight to address a matter not on the agenda.
Is the mic on? There we go, okay.
I just came tonight to address a matter not on the agenda. I appreciate the fact that we're getting new LRVs and the system's going to become a lot more reliable than it has been lately. Having said that, I'm beginning to notice a very disturbing pattern of safety issues when right around the 5 o'clock hour, you have RT's management for some reason on the Gold Line cutting things down to one LRV. I've seen fights almost break out on the train. I've seen, people packed to the point where they're elbow to elbow, but yet I've seen 4 cars returning late at night. So there seems to be this pattern of like right at the time that the state government office is let out, let's see how many people we can pack onto one car and let's see how unsafe we can make it. So I don't know who would be the proper person to address that with, but I believe I would bring it to those people's attention because it's a real safety issue. So if they could find ways to make their cuts, you know what I mean, at other times when there's less, obviously riders versus a time when there's a mass influx of riders, that would definitely be better in my opinion. But I just figured I'd bring this safety issue up, and hopefully when these new LRVs start coming into service, we get a much more reliable system. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate you coming out today. And as you know, we can't discuss things not on the agenda. However, our staff will get back and respond to you accordingly. Thank you. Mr. Lee,
I just really want to appreciate this comment, and we're going to take a look at it immediately. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Okay, we have a couple hands raised online,
Okay.
and then I have a couple written comments.
Fantastic.
So first, we have Nick Bryant.
Hi, my name is Nick Bryant. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you, Nick?
Well, I would like to say that, first we still have at Water 80, the elevators are still broken. And number two, the Connect Car machines, they're still at Night Decay, the Connect Car machine will not work. And basically, these Connect Car machines, they keep breaking because homeless people like to keep breaking them, and that's why it's just these Connect Car machines, they keep breaking, and it's these homeless people, they break them every single day. It's like it's a nonstop issue that that needs to be done. Something needs to be done about it. These homeless people like to break them, and either they need to be taken off the streets, or these Connect Car machines need to be inside light rail vehicles, because I am sick and tired of seeing people breaking them. Homeless people break them every day. It's getting irritated. It's a nonstop issue. People break them, and there's a lot of homeless on the damn streets, and they go to our Connect Car machines. They break them every single day. Like, I am tired of it. Like, I'm just saying, enough is enough. It's like, I'm not gonna when I use my Connect Car and tap on, it never works. It's like these machines never work. It's like it's a nonstop issue. Like, these machines need to be on light rail vehicles immediately. Like, at least immediately. Either they're cracked or they're broken. They never work. It's costing a lot of RT a lot of money. So and not only that, people would spill drinks on the floor, and they'll eat on the train like every once in a while. It's like, I'm tired of the stuff that's going on downtown Sac. It's like I'm getting fed up with it. People break them every day. I'm getting tired of it.
Okay.
It's getting old, and I'm just getting really sick and tired of it. I just think that it should be on light rail vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick, and I saw our staff taking notes as you were speaking, so I appreciate you taking the time to call in. Next.
Next, we have Lisa Cooley.
Good evening, everyone. My public comment is, I think that paratransit should have increased funding so there can be more call takers, to have call taking hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, including holidays. And I also think that there needs to be a multi-jurisdictional paratransit pass, because if you go between Sacramento and any other area near Sacramento, if you're a paratransit rider, you're paying double the fare. And I understand the reasons for that, but I think a multi-jurisdictional paratransit pass would help paratransit passengers get the most out of their trips. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time to call in. Next.
Next, we have Rick Hodgkins.
Rick, you there?
Yes, is this on the consent calendar or is this on items not on the agenda?
Not on the agenda.
Okay, well, I would like to say that a couple of things. My computer is talking, so I don't know why.
That's fine, Rick. We're used to it.
Okay, well, my problem is I was at UC Davis Medical Center today, and I wanted the note. I had USERV both directions, and the notes, USERV doesn't read the notes very well. The other thing is I had a issue. You know, all of the UC Davis campus shuttle buses, when they pick up at the ambulatory care center at 4860 Y Street, that they pick up at the loading dock. They don't pick up at the same day surgery. They pick up at the loading dock. And that's where paratransit buses should be allowed to go, as well as USERV drivers, because whether I'm dropped off at the eye center or at the same day surgery, it is a long walk. And I only go to one clinic at Y Street anymore, and that's the family and community medicine clinic. I don't go to any other clinic on Y Street. With that said, occasionally I might go to other clinics, but it's mostly the family practice clinic. So that is, I don't know if Kathy Say Chen is there in person or watching elsewhere, but if wherever the UC Davis campus shuttle buses go to pick up and drop off patients off, that's where paratransit ought to go as well, that whether it's buses or whether it's USERV.
Does that wrap up your comments, Rick?
I'm afraid so. I just feel like it's too long of a walk from same day surgery or from the eye center at Y Street. It's too long of a walk.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
And if that's what UC Davis managers want, then that's what I can't do that anymore. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate you calling in. Next.
Okay, so we have a few written comments that I'd like to read into the record.
Please.
Written public comment from Jeffrey Tartagia. Please note there were 3 comments emailed in on item number 6 to the board from Jeffrey Tartagia, so I will be reading the first 250 words of the email. I am submitting 2 written statements from Monday night, one as Sacramento Regional Transit Ambassador and as public comment. Please read them separately. Often I try to alert staff what my concerns are. They are helpful and responsive, but sometimes they need deeper understanding. Low floor improvements. I am told no more station cement pouring until September. Several locations have problems. 65th needs 3D printer help. It is confusing for wheelchair and blind with many new obstacles. Noticeable 4-sided bus sign, north side closest to ramp. How many Connect Card boxes are down? Light rail, stations, and buses. With all new construction, why is not a better visual plans? One or more 3D printers could help prevent problems like 65th Street. Preferred pathway might also help. I watched people leaving East Side crossing through 65th is a mess. 29th Street light rail station from ramp to ramp to ramp to crossover. Better help may be needed. Maybe Wayfinder approach might be helpful as Folsom Station and other locations. 16th Street rail slow down access to Connect Card. These are my observations as a rider. I was on 113 light rail vehicle as being taken out of service Monday night. Interesting to hear and see how handled. This is why I've asked for checklists for reoccurring procedures. I ran into Mike B. Sunday coming back from Oakland, Capitol Corridor on light rail. I hope we will have an update on when Sac Valley ramp will be reopened. How long did it take for Globe to be correctly fixed? Note how detailed I-80 Watt station is monitored on elevator fixes.
All right.
And I also have a staff response on that item. First, in response to the issues with Mr. Tartagia mentioned at 65th Street, the concrete pouring is only part of the station conversion project. Some of those issues he referenced are most likely smaller punch list items that we are still in the process of addressing. Between August 5th and September 10th, there will be no service disruptions related to station modifications. However, the contractor will continue to do construction work at the stations that will not impact service. Power In is scheduled for station modification work September 16th and 17th. Second, we will also evaluate his recommendation that we use 3D printing and improve wayfinding. These issues are being discussed with the Mobility Advisory Council. Lastly, on July 27th, we will start final design on the SVS ramp repair. After design completion, we are expecting actual repair to be completed by mid-September, which is expected to take about 6 to 7 weeks to complete, and the repair will be completed and out in-house shortly afterwards. We will continue to work with our MAC and address these issues, these additional issues.
Thank you. Next.
Then I have a written public comment from Ronnie Miranda. During the past couple of weeks, I have had serious issues regarding Smart Ride. I have asked Jamie to address my concerns to each SAC-RT board member, and it keeps getting rerouted back to SAC-RT customer advocacy. The ETA times for Smart Rides are constantly late. I cannot continue to depend on the service if it continues to be late. Also, they have been a long wait for downtown area. Route 67 and Route 68 shift changes affects the trip destination where I need to go. This needs to be changed. At this point, I only want to speak to SAC-RT Board of Director Chairperson. I'm tired of my complaints not being addressed. A serious concern, disabled passenger, Ronnie Miranda. And management response is as follows. We are apologetic that Mr. Miranda does not feel that Smart Ride suits his needs. Unfortunately, because Smart Ride is an on-demand and not a reservation-based service, we will likely have a variance in availability. With Smart Ride, we have limited resources available for a service that is in high demand, like other transportation network companies, Uber and Lyft. If you are requesting a ride during peak hour, you will wait longer for that ride. The software continually updates itself and provides those updates to riders. There are other modes of transportation that may fit his needs better. Customer satisfaction have offered suggestion to Mr. Miranda. However, he's not open to any recommendations. Customer service has offered Mr. Miranda the opportunity to seek SAC-RT Go as a potential option. Mr. Miranda declined. He was also offered an avenue to get Uber rides to medical appointments for free through a community-sponsored program and declined. Using Smart Ride to get to a critical medical appointment requires the rider to allow for a much larger window to arrange the ride, knowing the effects of ride sharing. Staff is an extension of the board and is tasked with handling day-to-day operation matters. Mr. Miranda has made 56 calls to customer satisfaction during the past year. 24 of those were related to Smart Ride. Staff continues to be responsive to Mr. Miranda's request. However, there are limited options as noted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miranda. If you're listening, I appreciate you writing in. And in the future, Vice Chair Jennings will be glad to answer any calls that you might have. Next, please.
Okay. Next, we have written public comment from Barbara Stanton, Director, Ridership for the Masses. Good evening, Chair Kennedy and directors. The only comments Ridership for the Masses still has is concerns about dropped trips. Today, on one of SACRT's busiest routes, the 51 Broadway, from 10:48 a.m. to 2:13 p.m., 6 trips dropped from its schedule: 68 Oak Park, 1 trip, and 88 Grand, 1 trip. How can riders depend on SACRT posted route schedule when trips are dropped? The posted schedule is compromised when trips are dropped, making it no longer credible. Does SACRT want to be known as unreliable because its schedules are unreliable? Aren't schedules and the reliability of those schedules the core of a public transit system? Thank you for your time to these comments. Barbara Stanton. And management responses as follows. Overall, Route 51, Stockton, Broadway, has 15-minute frequency, and passengers were not stranded during the off-peak period today. The 6 trips that were canceled resulted in a little longer wait time of 30 minutes headway for these affected trips. Route 68, Oak Park, and Route 86, Grand have 30-minute frequencies. The trips that were canceled resulted in a longer wait time of 60-minute headways for these affected trips. The number of monthly bus cancellations have significantly improved. For example, this June, we were at 1% cancellations. We're on track this month to be below 1% bus cancellations. We apologize for any inconvenience we may have caused. However, continue to strive for excellence in reducing bus cancellations.
Thank you, staff, for the response, and thank you, Barbara, for always being vigilant and calling in. Anyone? Next.
That's it. Jeffrey Tardigia has his hand up, but I already read his comment into the record.
Well, Jeffrey, do you have another comment to make? Jeffrey?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next item, please.
Okay, the next item is 7.1, information item, Smart Ride update, and Laura Ham is here to present this item.
Good evening, Chair Kennedy and directors. Thank you for the opportunity to provide.
Yeah, can we get the mic turned up?
Try and talk louder.
Yeah.
Okay. Testing. Sound better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you for the opportunity to provide you and members of the public with an update on our Smart Ride on-demand transportation program. Because of the expiration of SACRT's 2018 Sacramento Transportation Authority grant for the program, in the last year we have pursued additional funding and developed a plan to right-size the program to match our available revenues. We are pleased to be able to extend the modestly reduced pilot program until a more permanent source of funding can be secured. I'd like to update you on our funding plan and a few service changes for Smart Ride. So Smart Ride is an on-demand rideshare service. Users can request a ride through a smartphone app, phone call, or online. Smart Ride is offered under SACRT's standard fare program, including discounts and passes, and groups of 5 or more are eligible to ride for free. Our service today includes 9 zones and serves over 165 square miles and a population of 788,000. We are extremely proud that the program's success has brought service to many underserved residents throughout SACRT's service area, as well as nationwide industry recognition for this much-needed community transit service. Since 2018, $14 million in Measure A neighborhood shuttle funds have covered most of the costs of the program, apart from a share of the operating costs and the full capital cost, including a fleet of 45 vehicles that are funded by SACRT. So this table here is a look at funding going forward. We've funded as much of the existing Smart Ride system as possible with a variety of smaller and limited time sources, with funding secured for the modestly reduced program for at least the next 2 to 3 years. In June, the STA board approved an award of $2.4 million for the next 3 years of Smart Ride operations, amounting to approximately $800,000 a year. This is funding from Cycle 2 of the Neighborhood Shuttle Program. We have also been awarded $1.6 million in annual LC TOP funding. This award is based on the use of low or zero emission vehicles in the downtown North Sacramento and Rancho Cordova zones. The annexation agreements with Citrus Heights and Folsom directed the TDA funding used for their prior Dial-A-Ride programs to Smart Ride. There's also a 2-year funding extension of the $50,000 allocation from the County of Sacramento for the Vineyard area. And we were able to direct some of the region's recently reallocated federal relief funds and other sources of SACRT operating revenues to fill the remaining gap. You'll see in year 3, we do have some gaps to fill, but we are hopeful for a new funding measure or other source of revenue that will provide for continuation of the program. So as we began to strategize on potential changes to the program to meet the available revenue, we looked at several factors and strategies. In the end, the most pragmatic approach was a combination of modest service hour reductions, going from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for all zones, and a reduction in size of our 2 largest zones. Preservation of Smart Ride in disadvantaged communities was an important goal, and we have high utilization of low-income and minority riders in a number of the zones. One area we explored closely was to what extent did our zones serve an area without any other transit options or with limited options. In some zones, Smart Ride partially replaced fixed route during our 2019 Sacramento Forward route optimization. This includes Gerber and a portion of Orangevale where Smart Ride provides a connection to Folsom.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's hard to read the map from here. In the Natomas area, can you tell me how far east the kind of the most northerly part of that polygon stretches? Does it include Heritage Park, for instance?
It does. Okay, yes, it does.
And why doesn't it include kind of the other easterly half of Natomas Park? It all the way to what used to be called the Panhandle? I don't think so. That it's hard to see from here, and it looks like it's not including South Natomas. Is that correct?
It includes a portion of South Natomas,
Okay.
Really, it's been the management of demand as it relates to the size of the zones and the resources that we need to allocate to those zones. It's not an exact science. We can make some adjustments as resources allow, and as key destinations are identified. We can send you a more detailed map.
Okay. I would
You
like
can
to
take a look
see a
and-
more detailed map of
course.
basically all the service areas that are overlap with the first supervisorial district.
Yes, we can get that to you, no problem.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and just send out the comprehensive list to everybody?
No problem. We can send detailed maps on all the zones to each of you. In fact, I think we did just send out a digital toolkit with links to all of the zones, and there should be maps of each zones, but we can forward that on and get it at the top of your mailboxes. So kind of the bottom line is we know that Smart Ride significantly increases transit availability in many communities. And we'll move on to our few changes. Well, the next slide is about Citrus Heights. The Citrus Heights zone has been very large. It was our first zone that was then expanded. It currently has a $1.9 million annual operating cost, and reductions were necessary to improve efficiency and contain costs in that zone. This reduction would eliminate the Fair Oaks portion of the Citrus Heights zone, and parts of the Orangevale area. We did our best to maintain connectivity from Citrus Heights to Folsom, maintain connections to other essential services. What's not included on the map that we need to add back is Kaiser, just over the boundary there in Roseville. We want to maintain connections to any essential services and the more disadvantaged portions of the zone. As I mentioned previously, service hours would be reduced from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay, and we can move on to downtown. So downtown, this was a large service area, and the high demand required significant resources dedicated to the zone. It was our second most expensive zone at $1.7 million annual operating cost. Downtown has a generally high level of fixed route service with a couple of exceptions, including the Aldergrove Marina Vista neighborhood, which currently generates a significant number of requests for service. The proposed changes would eliminate the East Sacramento portion of the zone, which is the least disadvantaged portion of the downtown zone. Also proposing a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. service hours in that zone. Lastly, I'd like to share a small cost-neutral enlargement of one of the zones. The Gerber zone will be enlarged to include 2 more square miles between Fruit Ridge Road and 14th Avenue, providing transit service to an area with limited east-west transit connections and serving some additional key destinations such as grocery shopping and the library. We mentioned in our staff report that the Smart Ride program, due to the nature of the service as a demand response pilot, is not addressed in the same way as fixed route service changes. We also schedule our drivers for this service somewhat differently, so it does provide some flexibility to make adjustments, as I mentioned previously, when issues or requests for service arise. We can easily make these changes if they're efficient and cost neutral, or if additional funding becomes available. We do intend to closely monitor all the recommended changes, including considering comments from the board and our riders for any required adjustments. And one final note, the Smart Ride app is going to be updated also on Monday, August 28th, to coincide with the service changes. It will now show an option to request a Smart Ride, and also SACRT's fixed route services, including bus and light rail, will show on the app as an option for our riders. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions from the board? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do you have any breakdown of like the average distance per ride and a breakdown of a percentage of distances per ride?
We do. And I have overall, well, I have by time with me today, but we have, the average ride is about 11 minutes. Average wait time is about 30 minutes.
You don't have an average distance per ride breakdown?
I don't have that available.
Okay. It's about 3 to 4 miles. And then do you have an average cost per ride breakdown?
Cost per ride. I don't have per passenger. I have per zone. And I think I mentioned previously that the 1.9 million was the total cost for the current Citrus Heights zone, with the 3 cities included.
But we don't have any information on each time somebody gets picked up and it's taken from point A to point B.
We do,
what the-
and I apologize, I don't have that on me, but I can get that to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And then there is no, unless I missed it, and forgive me if I did, there's no consideration of where the dollars come from as opposed to where the actual number of dollars are spent in the different zones?
There is. I mentioned that based on our annexation agreements with the cities of Citrus Heights and Folsom, there was pre-existing dial-a-ride programs in both cities. And Smart Ride replaced those dial-a-ride programs. So the TDA dollars previously directed to those dial-a-rides have been redirected to Smart Ride. And we ensured as part of this process that those funding dollars remain dedicated to those zones as per our annexation agreements.
Thank you very much.
All right, any others? Yes.
Thank you very much for your thoughtful approach to this. I really appreciated the dialogue with you all about the changes to the downtown zone and how surgical we were able to be to try to limit the impact. And I just want to note, because you kind of threw it in there at the end, what I think is one of the biggest updates you just gave, which is that the app will now include all the fixed ride services as well. Is it going to have any like timetables or anything, or is it just like, how is that going to work?
I believe it will have scheduled arrival times. I'm going to look at my operations folks. It have scheduled times? It'll provide a trip planner.
Awesome. Okay, because that was always the hardest part of using Smart Ride, was that it was a totally separate app than when I went in and had to figure out what route I was trying to take and connect to. So that's really cool. I want to applaud the team for doing that. I know that I've been bugging Henry about that since I joined the board. So thank you. That's really great.
Of course.
We got multiple comments about, they want to know that when the time, the destination time, when, you know, the Smart Ride we arrive at the destination, and that's what we're constantly working with the IT provider to make sure you add those new features.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that because I think it'll also help fixed ride folks understand when they can use Smart Ride and like hopefully become the app. When you talk about cost, how does this compare like farebox recovery to traditional fixed route service? I imagine it probably depends on how many linked ups you're able to do with multiple riders, or.
I think it's probably similar
Okay.
to traditional fixed route service, but we can drill in and get that exact number as well. I've got
That
a
would
few
be helpful.
follow-ups.
I mean, the costs are helpful, but I think it's helpful for me to see costs in terms of like what we might be getting, so that we get a better idea of, you know, when a reduction might cost, like hit a certain sweet spot. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't want to create more work than is necessary, but Director Daniels' questions regarding specifically Citrus Heights, while you're at it, if you could do the same analysis for the others and send it out to the entire board,
Yes.
that'd be helpful.
No problem.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, I didn't want just Citrus Heights. I wanted that too. I
Okay.
think it's important for us to know the overall cost of Smart Ride, how that breaks down per ride, what kind of distance those rides are, and then maybe a conversation later into alternatives to Smart Ride.
We look at it in a number of different ways, cost per hour, cost per mile. We can get you all that data, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we also have the industry average about those measures.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. That's helpful. Anyone else? Is there any member of the public that would like to address this item at this time?
Jeffrey Tartagia has his hand up.
Jeffrey? Jeffrey, you there? I hate to say it, but I think you're on mute. We will move on, and if Jeffrey can chime in, we'll take him later.
Okay. We'll go to Rick Hodgkins.
Rick?
Yes. Last Wednesday, I tried to book a Smart Ride, and I thought you used Transloc for booking Smart Rides on the app, but it turns out I found out that it was a different app now. I'm probably not going to use Smart Ride anymore, not only because I haven't used it in 3 years, even though I updated my information. I probably won't use it ever again if it's going to be decreased, because the city of Citrus Heights has events going on, at 8 o'clock, sometimes till 8 o'clock at night. And so that may mean that I may have to use, unless, like last week, Citrus Heights council member and Director Daniels, if you recall, that we had the ice cream city scoop at the green space last week. And because they refused to book me a Smart Ride because too many people were using it, I took the fixed route bus. I took bus 21 to bus 1, and I had to have help crossing because I no longer can see the way I used to see. I had to have help crossing the street and getting over to the green space. The next 2 city scoops will be at parks, during that which time I could take paratransit over to, because those parks have addresses. And I don't know if Mary Poole has contacted RT about this, but I ran into Mary Poole last week. I talked to her on the phone, and I ran into her at the city scoop last week. If we can't get permanent funding for this, I suggest that we scrap it, because it may be a great concept, on paper, but I don't think it's going to pan out in reality, especially if we can't get enough funding for it. And my hunch is, if you have, disadvantaged, people with disabilities are also considered disadvantaged and minorities. So if you have people that are driving, people that are not able to drive that use it, my hunch is that those that do drive will not want their tax dollars going towards this. So thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Madam Clerk, anyone else?
We have Lisa Cooley.
Lisa, welcome.
Will there be some sort of backup transportation that's created for transit-dependent people who cannot use the Smart Ride RT fixed route service?
Tabitha, do you have her contact information by any chance?
I do not.
Okay, because that sounds like something that we need to get back to you specifically on. So how do you want to handle that, Henry?
We would love to talk to.
We need her contact information.
She has it.
We have it? Okay.
Okay.
We will get back to you and directly respond to your issue. Thank you very much for calling in. Jeffrey, are you there? Okay, next.
I'll see if his hand goes up. I do have a written public comment to read.
Okay.
Written public comment from Glenn Mandelkern. Dear SACRT, please seriously consider keeping the Citrus Heights Smart Ride service to the Kaiser Roseville Riverside Hospital facility intact. The present Smart Ride Zone map shows this location served with the Kaiser Permanente logo towards the middle top. The revised August 28, 2023 service map does not include this northern sliver nor the KP logo. I'm concerned because I have seen Smart Ride buses frequently at this medical campus and confirm it's highly appreciated, very convenient to drop off and pick up passengers. Patients arrive and depart more relaxed. Otherwise, it's considerably challenging and stressful to cross I-80, its entrance and exit ramps to and from the Lewis Orlando Transit Center. So much more to mentally process: infections, injections, and intersections. Normally, I would tell you this in person. Tonight, however, I'm attending the Sylvan Old Auburn Road Area 10 neighborhood meeting in Citrus Heights. When discussions arise about getting around and beyond Citrus Heights, rest assured, I recommend your transit offerings, SACRT. Thank you for reviewing this prior to August 28th. Glenn Mandelkern. And I did speak with Glenn Mandelkorn earlier and provided him a response from Laura letting him know that there will still be service to Kaiser Roseville with Citrus Heights Smart Ride. It was inadvertently left off the map, and we would like to thank Mr. Mandelkern for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. Next item, 7.2.
So 7.2, information presentation on ongoing projects and initiatives. Mr. Lee will provide a brief introduction, and then Ms. Valentin will start the presentation.
Is your mic on?
Sorry about that. Chair and the board, this is a new standing agenda item. The goal is to further improve our communication, transparency, and accountability, as well as provide timely updates on various initiatives and projects. In the past, we have done a lot, but we did not speak enough. From now on, we're going to do a lot, but we'll try to speak in appropriate time. And we really appreciate the public for regularly sharing their feedback and recommendations, and always strive to do better by listening to public more carefully, learning industry best practices, and building stronger partnerships. And with that in mind, we have invested in additional marketing and communication staff, and also continue to strengthen our transit ambassador program and customer satisfaction organization, and closely working with various news media. For example, you might have noticed Capital Radio's popular program, Rob on the Road, or Region Rising program, which regularly showcases and profiles outstanding regional organizations and or public agencies. The program recently aired 15 minutes interview between program host Mr. Rob Stewart and myself to promote SACRT's mission and innovative project. And we truly appreciate everybody for always helping us to spread our information about the service changes, special events, and other projects. So with that, Shirley, please kick off this presentation.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you, Henry. Good evening, Chair Kennedy and members of the board. Again, I'm Shelley Valentin. I'm the Deputy CEO for SACRT. I'm actually joined today by three of our VPs. We have Lisa Hines, Deborah Selenis, and Laura Ham helping with this presentation. So like Henry said, we really want to thank the board for all the feedback and suggestions, including the ones that were from recent discussions with Henry. We take them to heart, we listen, and we write really good notes on all of them. We are continuing to follow through on some of the things we're already doing, but at the same time, we are so excited to implement new and exciting suggestions and ideas and projects as a result of the feedback that we have heard from you all. We want to be transparent and accountable in everything that we do, and that's why we have tons of reports that you already receive right now. Henry talks about it during the GM update, part of his board meeting reports. We have our Next Stop News for our customers. We have social media postings, press releases, the website, our monthly chat with the GM, and just a lot of communication channels we're already doing. We have also began sharing with the board on a monthly or quarterly basis our strategic performance results. They have key performance indicators, and our progress in meeting annual performance goals are already included in those. This report is also posted on our website and included in our board packets. The next report for the Q4 results that we are working on right now will be provided to you at the next meeting in August. Finally, annually, we provide the board with a comprehensive and detailed reports on our agency-wide performance, including status of major projects and future goals as part of Henry's annual performance review. And all these reports are already available to the public and posted on our website as well. So next slide. I know there's a lot of information here, but we will go and walk you through them. So you will see in this slide a categorized summary of those recent feedback, questions, and suggestions from you all. We will use this as a guide in crafting our presentations, starting with the one we're doing tonight. We've heard some concerns also from our customers and community members about ongoing projects, so we would like to provide some updates on those items as well. So the first category here are ideas for new initiatives. And tonight, we are excited to present a proposal for a community advocate recognition program, which was a suggestion from one of our board members. And then in future meetings, we will talk about bringing back the Secret Shopper program and also opportunities to expand our school partnerships. Now, the second category is to provide you reports on suggestions that are already being implemented. Tonight, we will discuss our social equity program, and then at the next meeting, we will discuss our app consolidation project and other opportunities to leverage technology, again, based on suggestions from our board members. The third category is to provide enhanced communication on ongoing initiatives to address concerns, and tonight, we will specifically cover two projects, the Watt IAT project and the low-floor light rail station conversion project. We've already been improving our messaging regarding trip cancellations, but we are working on that, and we will also provide a report on that at a future meeting. And finally, we will provide a report on our analysis on some recent questions, including the idea of a fare-free program, an analysis on the use of smaller buses for low ridership routes, and other topics. And we're always open to more topics and suggestions from anything that we can cover. We will have this every month, and feel free to add any other topics that are of interest to you. So we have a very short time tonight. Please bear with us. So we are breaking them into two topics. One is to talk about our community advocate recognition, the Watt IAT project, low-floor light rail, and homeless and social equity program. Next meeting, we will be talking about the technology piece, our bus efficiency, the Secret Shopper program, and fare-free program, and then we will continue on from here. And with that, I will turn you over to Deborah for the first topic.
I don't know, the technology, I can hear the static.
Yeah.
So sorry about that if you're hearing from the public.
Just muscle through it.
We definitely need to work on that part. Tonight, I'm excited to present information on a draft Community Transit Advocate Recognition Program. The program serves as a follow-up to recent discussions between the board and SAC-RT on ways the board and the GM can create more community engagement and support for public transit through an advocate recognition program. Next slide. I believe launching a community transit advocate recognition program would help create goodwill among district constituents, as it would give a few deserving transit supporters, and we know there's quite a few of them, a formal thank you each year. The program would allow for participating board members and SAC-RT's general manager to choose one constituent for recognition of whom you believe takes a personal role in supporting SAC-RT, and I want to thank those who have already submitted their names for Director Hume. Thank you.
Money bad.
Yay, the champion. The recipient would be directly connected to the individual districts, and there are a couple ways for you to choose to do that. First, if you already have someone in mind, you or your designated staff person can email me the person's name, contact information, and one sentence describing that person's involvement, and we can take it from there. Or SAC-RT's marketing team can draft messaging that can be sent via email, an article in your district newsletter, and our post on social media asking your constituents to nominate a potential candidate, and then we would select the candidate and follow the same direction as the first bullet. SACRT will then recognize each district community transit advocate with a certificate at an upcoming board meeting, feature them in a blog post, social media announcement, and an article in SACRT's passenger newsletter, Next Stop News. Best of all, wait, there's more. I feel like I'm a salesperson. They would each receive a complimentary Connect card loaded with valid fare for up to 1 year. That's a pretty big deal, so. My hope is that we have all the 2023 nominees in hand by mid-September from you so that we can present certificates during an October board meeting and possibly feature them in a Transit Academy session. I believe the Community Transit Advocate Recognition Program could help advance SACRT's efforts to connect with regional constituents and increase community support for a safe, clean, and convenient transit service here in the Sacramento region. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions, if you have any.
Any questions?
Yeah, over here.
Yes.
Thanks for the presentation. Did we put some guardrails on this so that we don't have any nominations of elected people?
No, but I can.
I think it would be a good idea. I'd like to hear from the rest of my colleagues, but I just view our position as necessarily having to be an advocate. It's what we do. It's what's expected of us, so I don't think we necessarily need to be acknowledged.
Yeah, the intent is definitely for the community folks, your constituents, not so much the elected officials, but
Right.
I could definitely put that more in writing, so that's
Good.
official.
Thank you.
Next.
So I guess then nominating myself wasn't a good idea?
I'll nominate you.
I won't tell
I
if
didn't
you
even
won't
know
tell.
Trent.
All right, any other questions?
Any other questions?
Okay, next, I'll turn it over to Laura Ham, VP of Planning and Engineering. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate the opportunity to address the next two topics, WADA 80 and the new Siemens S700 light rail vehicle accessibility. So beginning with the topic of the WADA 80 light rail station, it's located in North Highlands, adjacent to Arden Arcade. You can go to the next slide, Adam. And the station property is about 6 acres of land, but that's between eastbound and westbound directions of the I-80 freeway at its intersection with Watt Ave. It's a dual-level station that includes stairs and elevators. The transit center is a regional hub, and it provides intermodal connections across multiple counties and jurisdictions. The Watt I-80 Transit Center is one of SACRT's busiest locations with over 1,400 average daily trips on light rail alone. It is prone to safety and security issues, being situated above and below a major freeway and in an at-risk community. We are also challenged with poor pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicle access and aging infrastructure. It's an issue that SACRT has been working to address for at least the last decade, and we'd like to update the board on our reimagined Watt I-80 project and progress. So in late 2017, early 2018, we partnered with Walk Sacramento, now known as Civic Thread, to facilitate a community-based planning process. The reimagined Watt I-80 master plan process acknowledges the transit center's regional significance, and our community outreach process engaged a diverse population of stakeholders. We wanted to ensure that recommendations and alternatives met community-identified priorities. So here's a snapshot of what we heard back in 2018, illustrating that improved maintenance and security can dramatically enhance the user experience, but the station will need more significant investment to address persistent issues. At the June board meeting, it was suggested that we reroute all our buses so that passengers no longer need to use the elevator or stairs. This is similar
I'm sorry, Laura, to interrupt. Do you want to sit over here and use my microphone?
It's really a lot of stuff.
Let's go. Come on. You sit right here.
Oh,
We cannot get rid of this building fast enough.
sorry, it's really
No,
distracting.
please, sit over here and just use this microphone. I'll stand next to him.
See if this- I don't know if it's going to help. Is it helping at all?
Nope.
No, it's not. Where's the control? Okay, so this is a snapshot of what we heard back in 2018. And what I was talking about. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Let's just keep going.
Okay. You want your seats out? Okay, so in 2018, we looked at actually closing Wadeye 80 station and rerouting passengers to Roseville Road, which is 2 stations inbound from Wadeye 80. A challenge here is that there's no direct path for a bus to get from Watt Avenue down to the Roseville Road station, and it would have added about 6,000 hours in running time per year. Many passengers who access the station by walking or biking, which is about 25%, would be required to make an additional transfer. And ultimately, we learned that by rerouting the buses, we would have disproportionate impacts on lower income riders and American River College students who rely on transit. So a full refurbishment of the station was what was ultimately recommended while maintaining the current connections. We do have a very proactive maintenance and security schedule at Wadeye 80 with a guard on site during all operating hours. They're checking the elevators every 20 minutes. We have camera monitoring, and we have cleaning at least twice a day. It's a challenge to keep it as clean and as free of issues as we would like. Even since the time of the study, community impacts have increased, and simultaneously we are working towards addressing those design issues.
Laura, can I interrupt you really quick?
Yes.
They were saying it could be cell phones next to the microphones, so just make sure all the microphones are muted and there's no cell phones next to them.
Okay.
If it helps, it'll help.
Okay. So we expect to award an approximately $19 million construction contract at the end of this calendar year to complete the major renovation and reconstruction of the station. We have completed 100% design on the project, and we're ready to go out to bid. Just last month, the California Transportation Commission allocated $8 million in Solutions for Congested Corridor grant funds to support the effort as part of the Placer Gateway project. It includes many dramatic improvements. We're replacing the existing enclosed stairwells with, that have switchback stairways with an open design concept to provide visibility, improved safety, improved accessibility. We're widening the bus stop plazas on both sides of Watt Avenue, where we will also add new canopies over the waiting areas, lighting, and bollards to separate passengers from vehicular traffic. Improve pedestrian crossings on Watt, including accessible pedestrian signals and squaring off of the freeway on-ramps on Watt for safer pedestrian and bike crossings with new Class 2 bike lanes. We'll have increased lighting throughout the station as well. And last but not least, we'll have new rest break facilities for SACRT employees. So in addition to the public outreach, the design was reviewed with the Mobility Advisory Council, and many of their comments were incorporated into the design. If there are any questions on Wadeye 80, I'd be happy to take those now before I move on to the next
Questions?
topic.
Continue.
Okay. So our next topic is the Siemens S700 vehicles that will be placed in service next year. They're currently undergoing testing prior to being placed in service. Early in the process, we went through extensive public outreach for members of the Mobility Advisory Council and others in the community to see and provide feedback on the ramp design. As you can see here on the screen, and you'll see in a video coming up here in a moment. In January, Siemens hosted an outreach event at their facility with a mock-up of a station platform specifically for the MAC and members of the community to test the ramp and other accessible features. During the site visit in January, where all attendees were asked to complete a survey, MAC member Helen O'Connell wrote on her feedback page, "I have an extra wide wheelchair and the 36-inch wide ramp made it easier." We are excited that the new vehicles will make it easier to board our trains, especially for those on mobility devices using strollers or traveling with bicycles. Overall, the customers indicated that they felt more comfortable and safer with the new vehicles. SACRT has also conducted outreach to similar transit systems that operate the same vehicles, such as Portland, Tucson, and San Diego, to get their feedback on the ramps. We have several peers in the industry using the same or similar boarding configuration. We are using the exact same design and configuration as San Diego with an 8-inch platform combined with a ramp. Shown here is an older San Diego S700 vehicle with a 30-inch wide ramp, and our ramp slope does meet all ADA requirements. We have to use a ramp combined with the low-floor vehicles because SACRT will continue to need to use vehicles in our legacy fleet, the high-floor vehicles, for about the next 10 years. The existing fleet can also be boarded from that 8-inch platform that we're constructing now, similar to the platforms that were constructed for Southline Phase 2 including Franklin and CRC stations. Also similar, MTS operates different types of trains along its rail corridor and has used this same S700 ramp and platform since 2005 with no reported accessibility complaints or claims. And on June 6th, FTA Administrator Nuria Fernandez notified SAC-RT in writing that FTA approved the accessibility and usability of our ramp design as recommended by the FTA Office of Civil Rights. During the last board meeting, there was a request to ride the new train during testing and give us feedback. Unfortunately, we confirmed that we are not allowed to have the public onboard light rail trains during the on-track testing process. The California Public Utilities Commission rules stipulate that the vehicles need to be safety certified with the CPUC before passengers are allowed to board. But as we take ownership of the vehicles and they're certified and as station construction is completed, we'll be launching a comprehensive outreach and orientation process on the new vehicles. So I'm going to wrap up here with a short video.
On January 19th, 2023, the Sacramento Regional Transit District showed off the new S700 low-floor light rail vehicle being manufactured at Siemens Mobility in South Sacramento to the Sacramento Regional Transit Mobility Advisory Council. Once the low-floor light rail trains are in service, passengers will be able to individually deploy the ramp at a station, allowing those in mobility devices to easily enter and exit the train without the aid of the operator. A rider simply presses the button with a wheelchair icon on the door from the outside or on the inside to deploy the ramp. MAC members and mobility devices were able to successfully get on and off the train using a ramp that measures 36 inches in width, which is the same size as the door opening, and 6 inches wider than the required 30 inches.
So I like the width of the doors and the ramp going in. I had no trouble with it. And the coloring on it was easily visible. And so it was an easy ride on and an easy ride off.
I stood at the ramp when the ramp was deployed, and the pressure was not enough to cause any real harm. I stayed there for a few seconds and didn't cause any problem, so that was good.
Learn more about the project at sacrt.com/modernization.
That concludes my portion of the presentation. I'd be glad to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'll pass it on to Lisa Hines.
Any questions?
I have a quick one.
Yep.
The rider can deploy the ramp. Does
Yes.
it automatically retract when the train's ready to go?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and there's a warning in case somebody
Yes,
is like
yes, it
hanging out right
beeps
there?
and, yes, and there's indicators.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So, Laura, you said you're going to need to continue to use the high floor vehicles while the others are transitioned in. So, the construction is changing the platform, but it's leaving the current high platform so people can get into the vehicle.
The mini high platforms that passengers and wheelchairs use today, yes, those will remain in place until the legacy fleet is fully retired, and then we would be able to remove them.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Lisa.
Chair Kennedy, members of the board, based
Is that on?
Is this on?
We're just going to make Director Valenzuela stand the rest of the meeting.
all day. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Based on recent board meeting comments, I thought this would be a good opportunity to do a quick recap on SAC-RT's social equity program, which is focused on a bold set of strategies and actions related to fair and service equity. This program is dedicated to overcoming the extraordinary challenges of Sacramento's most vulnerable populations, including low-income, unhoused individuals, adults experiencing mental health disorders, youth, and elderly. Over the last 7+ years, SAC-RT has taken tremendous steps to look at our value through a different lens, often assisting the region in a great time of need, including providing free transit passes to local nonprofit organizations, and public agencies for distribution to individuals needing transport to work sites, food banks, and other vital community service centers. Most notably, SACRT has been working closely with the City and County of Sacramento to provide free rides to people needing to get to warming and cooling centers throughout the region. Over the last 7 months, we have provided over 60 free ride days because of severe inclement weather. And just this last couple of months, we have provided over 50 monthly passes to assist the recent arrival of asylum seekers, as well as complimentary daily passes for seniors living in the Sierra Vista apartments. Next slide. In addition, we place heavy emphasis on customer experience through our clean, safe, and convenient efforts, which started with establishing the Transit Ambassador position several years ago. The fairly new class of worker is often referred to as a wandering customer service rep / friendly fare enforcer, by moving away from the strict fare enforcement and policing to a more customer-centric approach. SACRT is the first transit agency in the nation to rethink the role of fare inspection by switching to a transit ambassador model, raising the bar for the industry. Many other agencies have since contacted SACRT to implement similar programs, such as BART and LA Metro. If a rider is not able to show valid fare, the transit ambassador will educate and assist the passenger on obtaining a ticket or pass, or if the rider demonstrates the need for social service assistance, they will connect them with SACRT's in-house social service practitioner. I should note, however, that while it is the goal of our transit ambassadors to provide excellent customer service, it is also their duty to enforce SACRT's rules and ordinances, which are important because they help provide a balanced level of safety, fairness, order, and justice. For example, we received a complaint from a passenger regarding a transit ambassador not allowing them to reuse their fare by giving it to another rider who was experiencing homelessness. Although the customer was trying to help a fellow rider, it cannot be at the expense of safety and security and in violation of our well-established policies and industry standards. The same customer also reported they asked someone to hold the train so they could go buy fare for a person experiencing homelessness. This puts SACRT and its riders at risk. This could cause mechanical issues, delay in our schedule, and possibly create safety and operational issues for our light rail operations team. SACRT has been a model of success for other innovative programming, such as the hiring of a full-time social service practitioner. Rose over there in the corner. We started the process by partnering with the City of Sacramento's Department of Community Response, sharing a social service intern, Rose Arteaga, for a year to pilot the effectiveness. Sacramento's homeless population tripled between 2017 and 2022, and we wanted to be a resource for all our community members, which is why we needed a full-time social service practitioner. This person would be the hub for all things pertaining to social services. The idea was to create a full-time position to assist Sacramento Regional Transit Police Service officers with a compassionate response to the unhoused riding the system and living around SACRT's right-of-way, all while maintaining a clean and safe transit system for all riders. By the fall of 2021, SACRT hired Rose as our full-time social service practitioner to assist with displaced residents living along SACRT's service area. Working in partnership with local and regional mental health stakeholders and agencies, SACRT has already begun to see a variety of positive outcomes for the community. So far, in 2023, the Social Equity Program maintains an active caseload over 136 unhoused individuals, and to date has connected approximately 775 persons experiencing homelessness with much-needed resources. Once we had Rose on staff, our ability to collaborate with partnering agencies skyrocketed. She became known for her compassionate, hands-on approach, seamlessly elevating her position in the community by building trust with the unhoused. Today, SACRT provides free fares to the homeless community to access resources through all of Rose's regional contacts, as well as direct contacts she has with the unhoused. Additionally, she participates in community outreach events and holds weekly hours at Loaves and Fishes. Next slide. Although SACRT has one social service practitioner, we have been able to magnify our approach and impact by building relationship with community partners who work in and around housing and unhoused populations in the Sacramento community. Here's a snapshot of many of the agencies who all work with SACRT through Rose. She has a police officer partner, TJ, who works with her in the field and supports her efforts. Although unconventional, their partnership works for them. They are a highly effective team that provides assistance to people who need it the most while balancing the need for safety and security. As I mentioned earlier, many of the clients Rose works with live in and around SACRT's light rail infrastructure, which often causes major safety issues with the number of people who walk on our tracks. She works with Operation Lifesaver to get training materials so that she can educate all her daily contacts regarding on-track safety. The goal of Operation Lifesaver is to save lives at railroad crossings and on train tracks. Rose has contact with hundreds of people in a quarter and is doing everything she can to provide resources to those who she assists. Another major safety issue is keeping the trackways clear of trash and objects from encampments. As you can imagine, just one item laying across the track can result in a major accident or cause significant damage to a light rail train. For a long time, we used our own facilities team to manage these cleanups. About 6 months ago, we switched to using Forensic Clean to work with us in identifying cleaning up campsites along the railways. This occurs every Wednesday for 8 hours. It has been highly successful in reducing incidents of objects on the tracks, and it frees up our facilities team to work on other important duties. And in a first-of-its-kind pilot program, SACRT signed an agreement with the City of Sacramento and others to turn an unused portion of the property at Roseville Road and Franklin Light Rail Station park and ride lots into a safe parking zone for people living in their cars or vans to help with temporary shelter. Although the pilot program was put on hold in support of more permanent housing, SACRT is ready if called upon to assist. SACRT's social equity program serves as a model for other agencies. How much can be done, even with limited staffing and resources, when an equity-focused program has intentionality and deep connection to an agency's mission? And along the way, SACRT has been recognized for our innovative programming, including the 2023 American Public Transportation Association's Rail Safety Certificate of Merit for Light Rail Streetcar Systems, Federal Transportation Security Administration's 2022 and 2019 Gold Standard Award for System Security, Women in Transportation 2021 Innovative Transportation Solutions Award, and the American Public Transportation Association's 21 and 2020 Rail Safety Gold Award. That concludes my presentation, in case you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just a quick comment. Commendable work. It's so impressive. Thank you for sharing that. That is something we should be sharing very widely.
Thank you.
Very impressive.
Any others? Yes, sir.
For Shelley. Earlier you mentioned one of the things was the cancellation notifications and stuff like that. I was in Nashville a few months ago using the bus system, and you could text, I believe it was, a request to see when's the next bus coming. Do we use anything like that here?
We do have a bus app that is currently in place. What we find is we really need to also enhance the way we're promoting that so that more of our customers are using that service.
So there was a very easy sign there because I'm technologically disadvantaged, and I was able to do that. Do we not have signage at the stops?
I believe we do, but we can always be better in putting up more signage, more readable signage, and again, promoting all of these available services. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So,
And also, we received about $17 million grant to put a real-time information board on major stations.
Yeah. And if I could add to Henry, another exciting project that we will be presenting on later is the bus app consolidation. I know it's always challenging to have multiple apps for different things that we do, and it's a big project, but we are already working on that. And next time, we will give you a preview of what that will look like.
Thank you for that. Director Budge.
so when you were when you answered Brett's question, are you talking about Alert SACRT?
What's the name of the app? It's the Bus Tracker app is the name of
Oh, okay.
specific one.
I have Zip Pass, which I think is old, and Smart Ride, and Alert SACRT.
No, Zip Pass still works.
So
Which is
this is different.
Yes, this is different, which really brings home the point that we are trying to
Consolidating.
consolidate all of that
Okay.
because it makes it too complicated for everyone, including us. So
Okay.
that's in the works.
Okay. Thank you.
Any others? Is that the end of the presentation?
Yes, so we want to thank you for your time. And again, we'd love to hear your feedback. This will continue on. We'd love to hear if there's any change in the format or things that we haven't included, the level of information we provided. But again, our goal is to just keep working on the things you have told us to do, but also add more and enhance what we already have today. So thank you.
If I could just add, Chair, if that's okay. If we could put in the agenda maybe what items you're planning to update on so folks know. I know a lot of folks are interested in the free fare program and what that would look like, for example, so that would be
Great, thank you. We
Of
will
course.
do that. We have also posted the whole PowerPoint as part of the agenda item for tonight, and we'll keep doing that.
And today is just the beginning. We're going to continue to do this every month or until time you ask us, direct us not to do this too often.
You're getting close. Director Maple.
Thank you, Chair. Just two quick comments. First being that I think this is a really great addition to the meetings. I know all of you are doing amazing work all the time, and it's really great not just for us to hear it, but for the public to hear it and to be updated on the progress of those. And then the other more specific item I wanted to talk about is the free rides to our cooling centers and warming centers. That's been hugely important in the communities that I represent. And I know that people are really taking advantage of those. And so we appreciate that partnership with SACRT. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? We have any members of the public that would like to address the board on this item?
Rick Hodgkins has his hand up.
Rick?
Okay, on the the first part of this item was about the Watanabe Light Rail Station. Watanabe Light Rail Station, I would like to say that if I remember right, it was discussed in meetings past that more security would be available because they're gonna get rid of all the hiding places homeless people hide in, and along with, so that they don't urinate. We also need to put a security camera, I think, in the new elevators. That this way homeless people can't use the elevator as their lavatory, bathroom, if you will. Also, instead of stairs, let's say you have someone in a wheelchair. Let's say if you have somebody in a wheelchair who needs to get up to the second level and that the elevator is down, we need to, instead of stairs, how can we get that person in a wheelchair upstairs if the elevator's down in the future? So, stairs should, I would suggest a ramp rather than, the stairs, because that's, unless you're going to provide a bus bridge, from the lower level to the upper level of Watanabe, that's a different story. And also that we ought to be doing as BART does in the future. What BART currently does is what we should be doing in the future, and that is that when the elevator at Watanabe is down, BART has several different elevators, of course. We only have one, but my point is that whenever the elevator is down in the future, it should be reported system-wide over station PA systems and over, bus and light rail. If there's a way to do that so people who use the elevator know in advance, look, the elevator's down, and something else I'll bring up when we talk about the next item, which is recognizing the ADA, and that is, if there's a way to auditorily announce in stations that when the next train is coming, and that type of thing, or when it's approaching. So, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rick. Anyone else?
Nick Bryant.
Nick, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, I would like to say, I do agree with Rick Hostings about getting security at Watanabe, but I'd like to see security on both sides and maybe armed security police officers on both sides, and maybe closing the elevators at night. And that way, when there's no bus service, they should lock up the elevators for good, lock them up at night, and maybe, just when there's no service running, that way they don't have to push buttons on the elevator. They just keep them closed at night. That way they don't go in there, they don't damage them. But there needs to be a solution to our elevators at Water 80, and homeless people like to camp somewhere like right before Water 80 between where that pet store is at, wherever that is. But I do want to say that, you know, the trash in the train tracks where the trash is at, I would like to see that cleaned up. Henry, I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know about the trash on the tracks at 180 downstairs, down over the platform, but a lot of trash needs to be cleaned up, Henry. But I know you can, if you can look into that, that would be really great. That way we can see clean train tracks and clean where the bushes. There's a lot of trash. Like, it's disgusting. Like, I'm getting tired of seeing trash. I'm just tired of it. So, Henry, can you look at that? Maybe getting that looked at. Maybe getting maybe RT cleaning that area up. RT cleaning up the trash up.
Yes, thank you. We heard your comment, and I see a lot of heads nodding from staff, so we will, we'll look into that. Thank you very much. Next.
There's no more public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, staff. Very, very informative, very helpful. RT's doing great stuff. Proud to be a member. Next item is 8.1, General Manager's Report.
Good evening, Chair and Board. Well, by the way, we're going to lock up the elevators right after service closed.
Okay.
Yeah, we already planned to do that.
Great.
I will be very quick. By the end of my report, Lisa Hans, our VP of Safety and Customer Satisfaction, if needed, will try to take a couple of minutes to address the some of customer comments posted during the meeting. So let me go down that. As we wrap up July, I would like to recognize this month is Disability Pride Month and the important roles public transit plays in the larger movement for disability justice. The Americans with Disabilities Act was passed on July 26, 1990, to prohibit discrimination against people with disabilities. And this Wednesday, as part of National Disability Independence Day, Sacramento is offering system-wide free rides. This year alone, for the first 6 months, we offered 60 times free ride. Then July marked the end of fiscal year 2023 for us, and I'm very proud that Sacramento is sound financially and even getting better. And we're seeing steady ridership growth, finishing the year up nearly 30% ridership increase from the previous year. We continue to play a vital role helping our region address climate change, social justice, equity, and economic mobility. In fact, a recent on-board survey found that 67% of our riders do not have access to cars. That's a huge amount of percentage. I would also like to highlight the tremendous work of Sacramento HR team, who has been working effectively to fill vacant positions and streamline the hiring process. In FY23, Sacramento hired 259 employees, which is a significant amount of number in this tight job market. Even more impressively, 34 days is the average amount of time from job posting to the job offer being accepted. 34 days. I also want to take this time to thank all staff for working diligently as we navigated the recent heat waves, which unfortunately more days on the way. Additionally, I'm very proud of how we have coordinated with the cities and the county to provide free rides to cooling centers, as Director Maple just mentioned. In fact, we have been providing free rides to over 10 different cooling centers this month alone. In good news, the state budget restored $2 billion funding for the transit and intercity rail capital program, returning the investment into the program to $4 billion over the next 2 fiscal years. Unlike previous funding rounds, the money will be allocated to regional MPO on a formula base. Before, it was on competitive base for capital projects. Those major regions get 9 share of that because they have way more capital projects. We estimate the SACOG region will receive more than $110 million per year, $238 million for 2 years. This is way more than what received in the past. Each year, we probably receive less than $50 million in the past. Then earlier this month, Senator President Pro Tem Toni Atkins made history when she became the first openly LGBTQ person to sign a bill into law in California, the first. And the first bill she signed was Assemblymember Stephanie Wynn's AB 354, which will add a new seat to the SACRT board from City of Elk Grove, bringing the total members to 12. We greatly appreciate Assemblywoman's leadership and tremendous support. Now, I would also like to thank Director Daniels for attending the APTA Transit Board members' annual conference last weekend in Birmingham, Alabama. I heard Birmingham was very hot too. We understand how busy Director Daniels' calendar has been, and we truly appreciate you for attending this important industry conference to share SACRT best practices and bring home some great ideas to improve our system. I heard some great things about you from other industry peers. So finally, today, SACRT began taking applications for upcoming Transit Academy this fall. SACRT's Transit Academy is a free 5-class course designed to educate and engage residents, business, and community leaders about our planning process and how public transit shapes our communities. The more information can be found on our website at sacrt.com. With that, Lisa, do you have any information you can share regarding the questions posted during the public comments?
Chair, would you like me to answer any of the comments?
Yes, but we have to be somewhat limited because of Brown Act issues. So don't go too far into details, what I'm saying.
I'll see if I'll do my best to recap on a few of the questions mentioned. So the Watt and I-80, the security issues, obviously that lands in my lap. And I've been working closely with Laura, and we're going to get timers on the elevators by the end of the month. And we're going to also look at some sort of service attendant for the elevators to make it much more pleasant to ride in the elevators, if you will. And we continue to look at the security options and cameras. But one of the things we recently did that really helped was we had the security guards. They can go and scan a code to show that they're checking every 20 minutes and report any issues. So that has helped tremendously. Jumping to the Connect card machines, we have around 165 Connect card machines on the system, and about 21% are down. We track that every single day. We get a report from IT. And we do have a problem with our system because it's open that just social behavior, social nuisance behavior, where people are walking by. We have it on video and they're using their elbow or a rock or skateboard or whatever, and they're breaking our infrastructure. So we have the opportunity sometimes to arrest them because we have good pictures. Sometimes we see it in the act with the Security Operations Center, but it's just way too frequent. And it's there's no pattern, trend, or series. It's just random people walking by and just taking the opportunity to create havoc on our system. So we do our best, and we continue to try to brainstorm innovative ideas for solution, but it's a work in progress.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Is that it, Henry? That's your report. Okay, thank you very much. That takes us to 9.1, which is the Capital Corridor JPA. Does Director Daniels or Maple have anything to add to the written record?
I have some brief comments.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So I'll just say we received a few different updates from the CCJPA meeting, one of which is that they are improving their Wi-Fi capability. That's really, really exciting for those of us who like to ride it, but also want to make sure that we can send our work emails and be connected. They also updated us on their new marketing plan, so that's going to be, the goal is to reach more people and have them want to ride and to take it for different, not just for work, but really think about it in different ways. Like, do you want to take a trip, a vacation, and getting more young people wanting to ride. And then the last is we also received an update on their tap to ride system. So being able to use just a tap going in and out. It's a very limited capacity of what they're doing right now, but eagerly awaiting to see how that goes because I think it's innovative and it's a new way to use technology that we can perhaps learn from ourselves. And that's it for my update.
Great. Thank you, Director Maple. Appreciate it. Director Daniels, you have anything to add?
Nothing for that, but I wanted to do a 1-minute recap of the APTA conference, if I might, real quick.
Sure.
Very short. Birmingham, don't go there in July. But it's very hot, very humid. But a really great conference, a lot of great stories, amazing difference between some folks who, like us, have a lot of things and some places that have, a couple of buses and stuff like that. There's quite a few variations on fare recovery, and I'm quite surprised at how much actually some agencies get in their fare recovery. Everybody has the same issue: money, funding. How do we get the funding to do what we want to do? So it's not something that we're alone in here. It was amazing to see the difference in various boards, from as little as a 3-person board up to a 17-member board, which has just got to get ridiculous at times. And then it was nice to also hear that there are agencies out there that partner with Uber on their smart ride type operations. I took Uber while I was there, 5 miles, 9 minutes, $10. And so that is something that I think that this board has ventured into previously, and I think it just needs to be re-examined maybe, because it's my understanding that our smart rides are being subsidized at an incredible amount of money, way above that. And we owe the taxpayer, I think, another look at that if we could, to see if we can do something better. And especially with the on time and stuff like that. And you've got one person out there hitting all kinds of different areas trying to get people from point A to point B. Well, you probably have Uber drivers sitting on corners just waiting to get a notification to take somebody somewhere. So just something to look up.
Great.
And thanks for allowing me to go.
Thank you, Council. We will file that as an AB 1234 report. And with that, we are going to go into closed session. Council will have nothing to report out. Do I need to come back and close the meeting, or can we just go now?
I think we can just go, but Rick Hodgkins has his hand up.
Oh, okay. Rick? All right, Rick.
There we are. Great report, Henry. Great report, Henry. Yes, the Americans with Disabilities Act. Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law 33 years ago. What an exciting time it was. It's actually a successor to the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. And then, of course, prior to that, it was California Government Code 4450, passed in 1968. But I will say this, with regards to Councilmember Director Daniels, you mentioned Smart Ride again. What it is, if we only have one bus serving all the zones, that's probably what's, if we can't get any more buses to help with that, then again, maybe we would consider scrapping it, because it's just, for me, it's just useless. I don't know if Mary Poole from General Services or Public Works contacted anyone. And second, with regards to speaking of the ADA, with regards to not every person with a disability has an iPhone or an Android or an Apple iPhone like I have. Needless to say, it's hard for me to navigate the tracker to find out when the next bus and light rail train comes. And again, for those reasons and for what I just stated, that not everyone has a smartphone that's disabled, it would be nice to have, it would be more accessible to have an auditory and audible announcement in each light rail station, letting people know when the next train comes, or when it's approaching. Because I know that sometimes announcements come over the station's PA system which talk about, passes and stuff like that. What about when the next train is approaching or when it's coming, so that people can be ready? I'm glad that security is being looked into at Watton I-80. One thing I brought up last meeting, having bathrooms for the public at light rail stations for the people with disabilities and those with emergencies to use. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Rick. So we will now be going into recess to closed session where we will hear conference with legal counsel on 2 items, one being Lackey v. SAC-RT and one being Carrillo v. SAC-RT. With that, we are in recess.
Chair, we can actually stay here.
Oh, we're here? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.